Yeah. Tell you after.
I'd like to call a meeting to order of the District of Chetwynd and Council. Can I have the opening statement read, please?
As we gather today on the traditional territory of the Treaty 8 Nations to conduct the business of the District of Chetwynd, we do so knowing that we are privileged to serve the citizens of this community, and we shall endeavor to conduct our business in their best interest. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to, prior to adoption of the agenda, is there any new business? Not hearing any. Adoption of the agenda.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor? Carried. Minutes of the regular council meeting held on June 5th, 2023.
Motion to receive.
Second.
Any errors or omissions? Councillor Ward?
I just have a question on the council committee and liaison reports. Your report says the PRD is currently in negotiations with the CAO of the District of Chetwynd.
Okay, yeah, it should be with the PRD.
Right, but
Yeah.
there's no other information provided in the minutes for that.
Because it was still in that closed door, or it was still a closed door event until we get it final, then I'd bring back more.
Okay,
Yeah, it was one of those negotiating things. Money. When I believe that we put in charge our chair and our vice chair to negotiate. So once they get a negotiation, I'll have more to report. Okay. Any other questions on the June 5th minutes? Not seeing any. All those in favor? Carried. No delegations, bylaws, committee reports, and liaison. Councillor Nelson?
Thank you. So I traveled to Fort St. John a couple times this past week to meet with the GoFund board on Wednesday, and we approved grants for 5 different nonprofits in the areas, and the organizations that will be receiving those funds will be notified this week. And there was one that was approved within Chetwynd, and it's all really uplifting and exciting stuff for our nonprofits of the area. Friday, I traveled to Fort St. John to meet with the board members with the NDIT Northeastern RAC, and we discussed NDIT's strategy for an Indigenous engagement plan. Northern Development proposed legislative changes and the 2023 third intake for funding applications. The 2023 terms of reference were updated and the NDIT 2022 annual report was presented. A discussion occurred in regards to Northern BC intercommunity transportation, and we shared the needs of the need for local transportation within the region. For the library, construction is on schedule to be completed this fall. Furniture is currently being ordered. The library board is currently working on a plan to move the books from the old building to the new location. I suggested a chain of community members passing the books one by one, an idea which is not completely feasible, but would make for a brilliant community engagement opportunity and probably a really good photo opportunity. Most likely a moving company will be hired, but we may end up coming together to do the chain of books for fun anyways. And to add to my report, I just want to thank the staff and all the ESS for the hard work during the Tumbler Ridge evacuation. I know that everybody was working endless hours, and I did feel a little bit like, what can I do? Turns out that there wasn't a lot of need for council because staff really took care of these people. I heard there was over 770 evacuees in our area, and I think that we were best host that we could possibly be during the difficult times. So good job on staff. Thank you.
Any questions? I just have one if, also, good. transportation, how did that go? What did that look like? Because I know we don't have any bus services in the local areas. Did they have anything on the between communities?
Yeah, interestingly enough, I felt the same way. And I spent more time listening than talking during that conversation because I was sharing your opinion that there isn't much for intercommunity transportation. But as it turns out, NDIT has been working actively for years on developing buses, smaller and larger, that do come between our communities. And they just would really like to up the game because we're hearing clearly in Chetwynd, we have a need to be able to have our seniors, people without vehicles, to be able to travel, to shop for health and for, simply getting to some larger centers for other reasons. And people in Taylor are saying the same things. You might think that Taylor is really close to Fort St. John and they don't have the need, but the need is there, and the need is in Fort Nelson and all the way around our region. And I think that we really actually need to get more educated about what is available, because there, in fact, are buses that are transporting people, but I don't think our community members know about it.
So information needs to be, I guess, sent out to every other community that has a bus service. Is that what they're asking about?
They're asking more about need. And I think the need is clear in that we need to, whatever there is available, we need to educate ourselves and our citizens. And we definitely need to let NDIT know. There is a survey, which I will make sure to get the information to my colleagues here. There's a survey on the NDIT website asking these questions. What are the needs? And I think the more people that step in and state their opinion, the more that will be available to us in the future.
Okay, thank you. I know some of the staff's been working on that. So we're, I guess, being proactive too on some of those parts on trying to get transportation between our communities and the First Nations communities in our area. One question on the library, maybe not a question, but maybe help of maybe gathering some of our local schools to give that idea to them about passing the book is quite intriguing to me, that we could do something with all our schools, have each one of them have, we don't have to pass all the books, but maybe 10 or 12 or 100 just to go through each one's hands. It would be look very, very nice on them, because they are the ones that are being educated. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll just say that I think that's a great idea to involve the schools. Thank you.
Okay. Any other reports? Okay, as for the mayor, I attended FCM on May 24th and to the 28th. But first of all, I'd like to just touch on the point of the evacuations from our neighbors, Tumbler Ridge, and the open arms of Chetwynd was very well taken. Just one of the things that happened was I was in town and getting a coffee, and somebody would tap me on the shoulder, and it was the former mayor of Tumbler Ridge. So he was here in town, and so we got to talking, and he was very appreciative of what was going on in the community. So very good stuff, and thank you for acknowledging that, Councillor. So we're very pleased. He was very pleased with that, and yeah, but I'm glad they were sent back home, or the order was lifted, and I believe they're under alert right now, which they did not get, right? Every other evacuation order, there was an alert given prior to evacuating, but Tumbler Ridge did not get that. So that community had to just pack up and leave, which is different than getting a 2-day notice, or at least hours of notice. They were told, get out. You've got to pack whatever you got, get out. So I feel for, we were feeling for them, myself and the former mayor. We were talking about the situation there, and it was very dire. So, and the people that did come to Cheltenham, like Councillor Nelson, that said that they were very appreciative of our small community helping out. And Cheltenham House has open arms to all the communities, and we feel for the communities that are evacuated right now. And just to get on to the FCM, the Prime Minister addressed the delegates. Prime Minister Adele had attended the FCM for 10 years. So he's been advocate for the FCM, which is okay because that's where the population is. It's in our municipality, so that's where Canada's population is. So he did recognize the emergencies in Western Canada with the forest fires that are happening here and the extreme weather. He said was very real, and we see it here in the Northeast right now. He also spoke on the crisis of housing that's happening throughout our country. Housing through all sectors, the population everywhere needs houses. The Urban and Rural Housing Initiative and the Rapid Housing Initiative was brought up in his speech. Hopefully this will assist in the housing crisis. We all hope that way, and some of the delegates that were talking were in that same position, and so was the NDP leader. The only leader that didn't show up there was Poilievre. He did not attend the FCM. The Green Party, May, she was there, and she spoke very well on the environment. So she always gives us a great view on her opinion of the environment. So she does give a very good standpoint of what she believes and how her party believes. Another part, the NDP, Jagmeet Singh was in questions. It was in the question and answer period, addressing some of the political issues that include extreme weather, housing, economy, and the opioid crisis, and the challenges that every Canadian has, and how he would fix it, and how the Canadian crisis that we are in needs to be addressed. So he spoke. Some of the questions were asked, how would you fix some of these things? And he basically had some of the same answers that the other party had. So they have this partnership, so it seemed to be on the same path that the Liberals were on. So, and some of the resolutions that did pass at the FCM, 97.5 in favor of a resolution for mental health and national emergency crisis. There was a resolution that was put forward, so 2.5, I believe, you get that where you don't vote. So they said this probably was 100% if they go back and people didn't vote because you had to hit a button on the remote, and if they didn't, so this was one of the highlights of the conference was that 100% or 97.5 that's going to be released was in favor of doing something on the mental health crisis in our country. And the next thing was the housing, and then the opioid crisis. These things that came up, these were the major items that were presented to us by the FCM, the board, and all delegates agreed that these were still up there and advocating for by the FCM for us as municipalities. So one of the things that the FCM is partnering with the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, they're administrating the Green Municipal Fund and the new market fund for developing affordable housing. So these are the opportunities of municipalities to look into. So that Green Municipal Fund, meaning municipalities. So that's one of the things that we can look into as a municipality, so that we have an opportunity to give the direction to people that are coming to develop in our community on this and how to apply. So this is one of the major things that come out of the Prime Minister's talk. The initiative fund with urban and rural Canadians and the Indigenous group of populations that needing housing. So, and then I attended the Minerals North in Quesnel when I got back from the FCM. So I attended the Minerals North, and I found out that less than 1% of exploration is happening in Northeast BC. I think it's about 0.3 or 0.2% of exploration and mining happening in Northeast BC. But in that point, 2/3 of the coal is being harvested in or mined in Northeast BC, all throughout this area, and the others is Northwest. So coal mining in the north is big, metallurgic coal, and a little bit of coking coal. So we're doing okay in that. It's about 5 billion tons approximately in northeast and northwest BC that's being taken. So that part BC northeast is doing its job. Besides all the gas and oil that we produce in the northeast. So I would like to thank Mayor Ron Paul, and a shout out to the Quesnel for their hospitality. It was very awesome. The meals were totally awesome. As a small community like Chetwynd, they do produce some of the best meals. So I'd like to thank them for that. And the presentation of 8 mining companies at that Minerals North for their updates. So it was very informative. If you want that, I think Minerals North, the committee will be putting out their report. So it was very interesting. And that's my report. And for the PRRD, we were in Fort St. John a week and a half ago, and we had quite an issue go on with Scion, Dale Bonstead. He wanted to have a land sharing agreement. I can't say an agreement. I think it's just a discussion. And the social media and all the landowners took it a different way, saying that we already have these other things put on us, and there was about 500 residents that came, landowners and residents of Fort St. John and surrounding area. I seen a couple, maybe 2 or 3 from Chetwynd area. So it was very, very scary to have that many people in that small area at Pomeroy. We had to open another section of the ballroom in order for it to accommodate all the people. And the fire chief was ready to shut us down because there was just so many people that it wasn't safe anymore. But there will be more on the PRRD website if anybody wants to have a look at that. So that was the report. Any other reports or questions? I was the only Indian in the room. It seemed that way. It was tough.
I just have a question in regards to Minerals North. Why do you think that such a small amount of exploration is occurring in the Northeast?
Because we don't have critical minerals. We don't have gold, and those are some of the stuff that they were talking about in the Northwest. They have coal and critical mines down in southern BC, and the critical minerals are the ones that we put in our iPhones and computers, and we don't have to have too much of that to have good quantity of it. So just some of the miners were saying that because we got coal up here, it seems to be one of the major projects that stands out. So they didn't really give me a good reason why. I says, why only 0.0 something percentage? They didn't have no reason, because I think they've explored this part prior, because I know in the 80s and 70s they were diamond drilling in this area. Diamond drilling meaning that it was exploration. So there was quite a bit of that in the past. So I didn't think they seen any need for it. Yeah. Any others? Reports? Any other reports? Okay. Discussion item. Email from Portis dated June 7th, 2023. Letter of support.
I'll make that recommendation. The council provide a letter of support to Borders for its renewable natural gas application to the BC Utilities Commission.
I'll second it.
Discussion on it? Go ahead, Councillor Deck.
Question on, is there any more information on what they're gonna be, where the renewable gas is coming from?
No, but it's like Fortis is wherever there's basically gas wells. So Northeast BC would be, probably the Montney Basin would be my guess. I mean, that would be the closest supplier.
No, they're talking renewables, not,
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, well, that is renewable natural gas, isn't it? Or no,
no,
I'm sorry,
renewables would be a landfill or.
oh, methane and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I'm sorry, I'm having that kind of Monday. No, I don't know, actually. That's all the information that I have from him.
Ask them, like, just get some information, just. out of
Absolutely.
curiosity.
Yeah, I can respond to him and ask for more information for sure. I apologize for that shortfall there.
No big deal.
I saw natural gas and I just thought natural gas.
So can we table this and, till we get more information on the renewable part?
Yep.
Councillor?
I would be happy if they did come and do some sort of presentation. We've seen a lot of industry with presentations coming to council. And I, for one, would like to learn a little bit more and hear directly from this company as well.
Okay, we'll, get the CAO to, request, delegation.
Absolutely.
Do we need a resolution?
No, I can just go back and do that. But, excuse me, we did miss the, motion to accept the reports.
Okay. I can make that motion? Okay, Councillor?
Motion to accept the reports as presented.
All those in favor? Very good. Okay, we're, tabling this till, do we need motion to table? Deal?
I think I can just take it back and ask for more information. I don't believe we need a motion for that unless anybody would really like
Yeah,
to
we
make one.
didn't make a motion yet to
Yeah.
do anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to, make a motion table till, if we table it, we need a date. Is it to the next meeting or?
I would assume to next meeting would be enough for me to at least bring back some more information. I don't know if it's enough for him to approach as a delegation or not, because I don't know his schedule. But, I could sure ask him if he's available.
Okay. Councilor McDonald?
I'm not opposed to sending a letter of support. I would prefer just to have a little bit more information, altogether, but that would be up to Councilor Deck as well.
No, that's fine by me. I was just curious. It was more
Yeah.
curiosity.
Mhm.
Mine is curiosity as well. I'm okay with going ahead with sending a letter of support, but also requesting additional information, and a delegation from them.
No worries. I'll pass that back to him and I'll get council more information by the next meeting for sure.
Okay, need a motion table till the next meeting?
Sounds like we can just send a letter.
You're happy with just?
Yeah.
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 You,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Get a vote.
yep, okay, let's send a letter. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Correspondence. Oh, where are we? Nope. Letter. Saunders, Rose and Bone and Greenville. June 5th.
Motion to receive, C1.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Anything under the information items you'd like to lift?
I'll make a motion to receive, CI1 to I4 for information.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Reports for action. RA1, presentation and adoption of the 2023 annual report. Prior to the regular council meeting to set aside, or this portion of the meeting is set aside to allow public comment on the 2023 annual report. This is not a formal public hearing process, but rather an informal process. I will, however, ask each person who wishes to speak to state their name and residential or business address and then provide council with their comments. I will ask now if there are any comments from the public in the 2023 annual report. Not hearing any, I declare the public proceedings concluded. RA1, presentation and adoption of the annual report.
Make the motion that the council adopt the 2023 annual report for the District of Chetwynd as presented.
Any discussion on it? Councilor McDonald?
I just want to say thank you to all the hard work that went into the report. It looks wonderful. Thank you.
Any more? Any more? Go ahead, Councilor Nelson.
I did have a question in regards to page 58. I can find it here. So on page 58, we're discussing tax exemptions and still trying to get there, one sec. And I realize this is for 2022, but it's discussing outlooks for 2023 potential tax exemptions. And I'm wondering if it should be included in there where we did move to have the Paul's new construction of the Edo Subway and Domino's complex, if that should be included in this report, or if we just defer that to next year's report.
Staff, Kevin?
That will be included in next year's report. Their exemption is for 2024 going forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. RA2, Union of BC Municipality Convention Registration, UBCM.
I'll make the motion that all members of council be authorized to be registered for the Union of BC Municipalities Convention to be held in Vancouver, BC, September 18th to 22nd, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. RA3, Boulevard Walkway Trails.
I'd like to make a motion that council approve the community growth reserve funding be allocated for the Walkway Trail project located along Veterans Way and South Access Boulevard as depicted in the map shown here.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilor Beck.
And I think it's quite warranted on the South Access Road. I've noticed that a lot of kids going back and forth down there. And the sidewalk on Wabi Crescent looks really good, and I think it's a good thing to have, and I think we need to continue with more sidewalks. Lots.
Go ahead, Councilor Nelson.
I couldn't agree more with Councillor Deck's sentiments. The work on Wabi does look brilliant, but this walkway is going to potentially save lives of our youth simply because of all the foot traffic directly from the schools and the rec center, and it'll keep them off the road, and I think it's a brilliant plan.
Any more? I agree with everything that's been said, and from my point of view is that we are looking at the future of what we do here as a municipality. And right now, one of our major industries is closed, and we have to look at the future. So what we do now is something that we have to take care of in the future. But if we take care of it now, that means that we have an opportunity to attract other businesses when we have a community that's taking care of our residents. Thank you for all that. All those in favor? Carried. RA4, Extreme Heat Risk Mapping and Assessment.
I'll make the motion that council approves the submitted tender for the extreme heat risk mapping and assessment partnership project to Frontera Forest Solutions, Inc. in the amount of $59,015.
Second.
Okay, discussion on that? Councilor Deck?
What would the mapping actually involve?
Staff?
It's quite a detailed process. The proposal part of it is GIS, infrastructure, planning, but then they go through and they include all the forest sector. And then the mapping picks an area of high density, I believe. It's quite, I haven't seen another one like it, so we'll learn more about exactly all the mapping, but it'll show the interlays between all our communities. So anything that's hot, so for example, if there's a forest sector that could possibly get hotter, how those communities exit or how they go to receive areas for reduced heat. For example, we were really hot last year and we used the recreation center for areas. So I think they're going to use connector routes to show how to go to the closest area for heat relief, but also high density areas that are potentially or could be hot. Like for example, the fire that just happened out at Moberly is what I think it's going to do, but I'm not 100% sure exactly because I've never seen a heat map policy or procedure.
Go ahead, Councilor.
I wonder if that's something that we could have as a delegate.
I believe that is the plan. So part of this RFP was for this consultant to work with Chetwynd, work with Soto First Nation or Westmoreland First Nations to discuss exactly all of this, bring everything forward and then bring it together because we're all close together. So when we applied through this, Westmoreland First Nations approached us as we were just going to do our application and then we partnered together to do it so that we could learn more about how we deal with heat, and the other part of that is the cold. So we're hoping that brings forward a plan. So they will come as a delegate and they will put a plan together for communication for each of the area residents.
Thank you.
Good, Councilor Nelson.
I did a little bit of research and it does look like this mapping is going to really assist any emergency planning, which clearly is on the radar here. I was curious though, is the funding already in place? And how did we manage to get 60,000? Because on the UBCM website states that each municipality is, the maximum is 30.
Council endorsed the funding, I believe, in late 2021, and then we partnered for that. So West Moberly First Nations also qualify for 30. So we get 30, they get 30. And when Soto First Nations came on as a third, we decided because the areas are all entwined that we put it together and we proposed that we could do it for the full 60 because UBCM had already shut off. We couldn't add another one. We asked for that, but we were successful and we were able to get at all three communities for that same amount.
Excellent work. I think it's a great partnership.
And staff, would that help us in other funding like clearing and making sure that the fire areas were taken care of, like the brush and all that in our area and in Soto and West Moberly? Would this help?
It will help in the overall plan for sure. It won't, not necessarily for prescription planning, but that's the Fire Smart and prescription planning, but we also work together on those. This heat one will qualify for us because we've talked about the cold element. So our plan is to look at the cold element and also the Indigenous Health Liaison with First Nation Health is proposing some other initiatives that we can partner for that we actually are already working forward to. So we plan on bringing these partnerships and continuing to grow our portfolio so that we can tap into additional funding during an emergency and emergency planning.
Thank you, Ellen. Okay,
Stop. Just one more question. What's the timeline on this?
So the timeline was originally to be completed by September, but because of what was going on, we all decided to push it. So we will have the reports back and the consultation finished with a draft back to councils and First Nation councils. Hopefully by the end of September, October, and then the final reports back to you before the end of the season, because we had to do it within the fiscal year.
Thank you.
okay,
And just to add to that about how timely this all is, like our snowpack this year was gone off the mountains the fastest in recorded history. Our stream flow was the highest ever recorded for the month of May. And most of this is through, hitting 30 degrees plus in the month of May, right? So the reason we're a little vague on details is because it's kind of new territory. And when it's an assessment report like this, it means that's what we're trying to establish is where are we heading and where is the risk going to be? Are we going to see more fires? Are we going to see more floods? How do we protect our communities in this case from future risk? So we don't have a lot of detail because it's new territory, if that makes sense.
okay, any other questions? Okay, all those in favor? Carry. Reports for information. Accounts payable. Accounts payable. Accounts payable.
I'll make the motion that the check register for the month of May 2023 totaling 720,000. Pop up on my screen, one moment. $720,199.26 be received.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. No new business? Anybody on the phone, or we're good with that? Any questions for reporters? We're good? Okay, adjournment.
So move.
Second? Okay, we're good. All those in favor? Okay, thank you, council, staff, and Marlon.
And we'll go up further, is just up the hill here is where my grandma Marceline lived, where I lived and was raised. I'm trying to figure out today, I think we moved here in 1960. Everybody, we squatted up here. Nobody owned their properties. My grandma, for extra dollars, she used to make hides every day. All my life I could remember her making hides. As you can see on the one video, this is what she did for extra dollars. And we'll go up further, is just up the hill here is where my grandma Marceline lived, where I lived and was raised. I'm trying to figure out today, I think we moved here in 1960. Everybody, we squatted up here. Nobody owned their properties. My grandma, for extra dollars, she used to make hides every day. All my life I could remember her making hides. As you can see on the one video, this is what she did for extra dollars.
Hi, I'm Jillian McDonald, local Tim Hortons owner for Chetwynd. And it's Camp Day, and all of our proceeds from hot and iced coffee go to the Tim's Foundation camps. At the restaurants locally, we're doing a bunch of different incentives. Pick a sucker for a chance to win a prize. We are doing Toss a Toonie for prizing, as well as selling Camp Day bracelets and Camp Day socks. So in the 30-year history of Camp Day, we have nationally raise $225 million and help send over 300,000 kids to camp between the ages of 12 and 16. Come on down to your local Tim Hortons, or if you're in Chetwynd, come see us. We have police officers washing windows in the drive-through lane, which is always a fun time. Please come and help us send a kid to camp.
July 16th was a day filled with smiles, free food, and public arrests. All for a good cause, of course. The annual Cops for Cancer Jail and Bail was in full swing. Constable Lennon Cruz, the organizer of the event, gave us a little history.
So this event got started by Leo Sobolski, and it's been running in Chetwynd for a number of years. I can't tell you how far back, and it was something that he loved, and he just loved providing, being a sponsor for Cops for Cancer and cancer research for children.
This year hit a little closer to home since the original event organizer, Leo Sobolski, tragically passed away from the disease earlier this month. We spoke to Constable Cruz and Peace FM's very own Peyton McCulloch about Leo and his immense impact on the community.
Yeah, so Leo is a great person. I know this community loves him, and I think he's going to be missed. And he's a great promoter of this event, and just a great person. I know for myself, he got me trained as a Zumba instructor, and that was something that he wanted to bring Zumba to his community, and he just everything that he did, the guy didn't know how to say no, so no one can say no to him because he just found a way to get it done. So even in doing this event, everything that I had to put together, from getting donations from Fresh Mart and IGA, and so everybody that has contributed, I'm really thankful for everything that's how the community's come around that. And Leo has been a big part of that because this is being done in memory of him.
Leo Sobolski was a huge person in my life, got me this job here at Peace FM, and has also helped me get into college, so I owe him a lot in my life. And even though I weeded his garden and his weeds were about my height for multiple days and grabbing dog poop and the stuff that I did, it was worth it, and I get to do this awesome job that I get to be on television and doing radio. It's, I think, the best thing to do.
He was to council.
Mayor Alan Coutrie participated in the event. He even had chains wrapped around his neck. He explained the reason he wanted to be arrested was to remember Leo and participate in something greater than himself.
Because the prospects of Chetwynd look really good, and the great cause is for Cops for Cancer. And right now we're being touched by the community, by our great friend Leo Sobolski, who succumbed to cancer. And this opportunity for me to contribute by participating in something that's greater than just myself. I really appreciate people that go out of their way to support these things, and I'm just a small part of it. I'm nothing more than just a person like everybody else, and this is why I do stuff like this.
Chetwynd may be a small community, but the people were more than ready to open their hearts and their wallets for this event. Whether it was participating in the jail and bail, donating money for bail, or just hanging out and having a good laugh, it's clear to see that this year's jail and bail was a huge success.
Which is Red Dress Day, and it's the day to honor our missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirited people. Red Dress Day was started by Jamie Black. She was hanging red dresses in the trees of her community to represent those that we've lost and to bring awareness.
Is there anyone personally in the community here that we know that we've lost? And like, I guess through any of the like highways or anything like that, do you know?
Yes, quite a few, and some very close to our family here at Tansy Friendship Center.
Sorry to hear that. And so have you guys always usually been doing something for it since it began to be recognized?
Yes, we try to make some event in whatever form it looks like each year here at Tansy. In the past, we've done drumming on the front stairs. I think this was our first year for a long time doing the walk.
Why did you guys choose to do the walk?
This year we chose to do a walk because we were thinking of different ways to make awareness, have our voices heard, and actually Jeanette went to training and learned how to make that big banner that you saw. So we put all the stories, which are the words, on that banner, and we wanted to show the whole community.
Okay, and then tell me about the small little dolls.
Oh yes, the Faceless Doll Project. So that was actually started by the Native Women's Association of Canada in 2012. Now back in 2012, there was an estimated 600 women and girls missing across Canada. Unfortunately, we don't know the accurate number, but we're looking at over 4,000. So the dolls represent these women who have become faceless victims of crime, and no two dolls are the same, and each one is a story. It's a statistic.
And did the community sort of partake here to make their own doll?
We did. We sent some kits out to our schools in the community. We showcased them at 10 businesses across the town. We got close to 200, which was really amazing.
You asked me, is it fun to cry over nothing? It is! I'm breaking down.
Walks me down the aisle, my mother starts to cry, but I can't see cause Link and I are French kissing. Listen, I can hear the bells.
Pair of new shoes with matching laces.
Permanent box at the Sheep's Head races.
Strawberry on rye with a sour pickle. My personal puss on a wooden nickel.
Look at me, I'm the king of New York. Suddenly, I'm respectable, staring right at your lousy with snapshot.
important thing for us is for kids to feel excited about science, to feel like it's accessible, it's fun, and it's exciting, and that it's not something that you only do in the science lab once a week with one specific teacher. It's something that you do in everyday life with objects around you, and it's something that is fun and inclusive and exciting and brings joy.
So I think I might need some help for this. Yes, I was thinking maybe.
While many kids may or may not realize it right away, this stage of their journey is crucial. It's at this level where they can begin to develop the type of habits that will determine if this sport will become a lifelong hobby or a professional career.
Who's usually the fastest?
Easton.
You're fast, man. Is that true? Why are you so fast?
While having a winning mentality and being fast are great building blocks to a rider's success, every now and then, every sport sees an athlete whom God has also gifted with vision.
Take me through the track. What do you remember of the track?
The starting line, you go the straight stretch, a corner, little straight stretch, corner, straight stretch, corner,